Hello people of YouTube, my name is Brad. This is my channel Animal Orange, where I build and review a lot of 3D metal models, and today in this video is the start of another multi-part build. If you've already probably seen by the title, this is part one of another MU build. We have, let me slide my head out of the way, this big box of Bumblebee from the newest movie that's come out to build. As you know, I've already built, or if you don't know, I've already built a couple of MU Transformers models, and these models end up rather large. It takes multiple hours to put these guys together. It ends up being multiple videos, but it's a really challenging, really fun, and really rewarding build to do these guys. And I've got Bumblebee right here. This is a fairly new model. It's been out a little while. I received it shortly after it came out. It was actually a gift from MU as a thank you for the video that I'd already done when I had built the Megatron model from MU and put a video up for that. I got contacted by Gina Chan from MU, saying basically we appreciate your videos and appreciate your work and wanted to say thank you by sending you our newest release. Well, it's not quite the newest release anymore because it took them a while to get it to me, coming from China. It's taken me a while to get to it, unfortunately, but I have it now. Here we go. I was still working on Optimus Prime and had to finish that up, but now it's time to get started on this. And this is wonderfully detailed, wonderfully colorful box we have here. Very amazing looking model of a G1 style Bumblebee. But let's go over the table and open up this little box and see what's inside. Alright, we're here at the table. We got the box, and this is so colorful and so much graphic design has gone into this, or so it appears. And I'm intrigued, I guess, by this little two-colored bee up here at the top. Kind of neat, whatever. I like the style of Bumblebee just kind of lounging on his side with the radio on his knee. That's kind of cool. Very, very cool looking. Flip over on the back. We have more of the poses. We have some more lettering that only a small part of it I could read. Pictures of sheets, you know, whatever. QR code that we could scan, whatever. I want to open it up. I want to see what's inside. That's what I'm looking for. Slide the sleeve off of it, because it's just basically a sleeve that sits on top. Stash that behind the camera. We have an art model. Another nifty looking box. Inside of here is the big plastic tray. Oh, look at that. Very cool. Very cool. We have our usual catalog of instructions. Looks to be very much like we're accustomed to. If you've watched any of my other MU Transformers builds, this is very much the same. Color front and back, but black and white on the inside, or mostly black and white. There's a little bit of color, subtle color. And then we have the sheets. How many sheets do we have? All in one. Well, no, they're individually wrapped. We have a big gold sheet with a little bit of color in it here and there. Let's see, this is sheet A, so one. And we have a little bitty gold sheet. This is sheet B. And we have a multicolored sheet. Sheet C. And then this is D. Yeah, there it is. D. Right there. And then E. So it doesn't seem to be quite as many parts as usual. And then we have our lovely little finger cots. I like these finger cots. I've gotten some finger cots off Amazon, but I don't like them as much as these. I'm still looking for these, where I can find those. I mean, look terribly hard. I'm still looking for it. Oh, there's something else in here that I did notice, because I'm noticing these two sheets are sticking together. We have tiny little magnets. Isn't that cool? So what does that mean? Why do we have magnets? Is this posable, or are there different parts to it? I don't know. Let's put these back into this tray and out of the way. Now, how many sheets was that? All the way from A to E. So that's 5 sheets. So this doesn't seem to be as many sheets as before. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 large sheets and 2 small sheets. So it doesn't seem to be as much. I don't know how that's going to impact the final design, but I'm still quite excited about it. Let's put this to the side and peer in to the instructions. What do we have in here? We open this up again. I want to flip it over so I can read it better. Let's see. Fixing method 2, the buckle is inserted into the corresponding clamping grooves, fixed and bent. Basically bend the tab over. Fixing method 2, the buckle is inserted into the corresponding clamping groove, fixed and twisted. Fixing method 3, after adjusting the angle of the buckle needle, insert it into the corresponding clamp groove, fix and bend it. Interesting. So this is up here is basically saying you've got bent over tabs, twisted tabs, and then this one is still a bent tab, but the parts are not connecting at angles, they're connecting straight on. Let's see. Structural slot, basically insertion tab, structural tab, or insertion slot and tab, bending line, pre-scored lines where you can bend the part. There's large magnet and small magnet, 2 and 3. And we have buckle upright, priority installation, bending surface, which is kind of a beigey color. Please wear a finger cover before assembly. Sheet metal pieces of the engraved with serial number. Adjust the angle of the buckle properly before installation. Some parts have spare parts. Here, a triangle positioning mark. Texture surface, so F for front, B for back, non-texture surface. So I don't know that we're going to see a lot of these exclamation marks, and if we do, they could mean numerous different things, but from experience, if you see an orangish, beigeish, whatever color this is, shaded area, that's meant to be bent. It's kind of like with Metal Earth, where they usually use red on a section that's being bent or twisted or folded. Priority installation, I guess this means whatever here goes first. Buckle upright, interesting. And this is kind of a, I guess, similar to the pointing thing in Metal Earth. It's saying to pay attention to something, positioning mark. And of course front and back, so textured and non-textured sides. So that's not hard to follow. Below that we have metal part number. This is sheet A. All the parts and the numbers listed. B, same difference. Sheet C. Over here is D, and here is E. And I didn't look. The parts are listed on the actual metal as well, so that's helpful. And with experience on previous models, occasionally the part number will be listed on the back, and previously when that was the case, the number would have like a highlight to it to let you know. Those are your sheet layouts. You jump over here to 4 of 26, and you start with the assembly flow chart, which hopefully by this point, if you're jumping into this model, you have some experience building 3D metal models and will not be completely lost at this point. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time going over what all of this means. Just a brief overview, and not to mention with MU, they don't tend to be as descriptive in the models that I've built so far as how to put parts together. And they give you in the beginning the different connection methods, but I don't think they actually tell you or indicate which connection method to use or recommend one to use. You figure that out for yourself, which I'm okay with that. I'm okay with for the most part, just figuring out which connection will work best for that particular area. You know, folded over tabs are cleaner looking, but not as strong as twisted tabs is usually the case. But other than that, you know, we just go through and follow the instructions and build everything. We only have 26 pages in this one. If you look here, it's 26 of 26. And It also kind of indicates, I guess there's magnets built into the two halves, so maybe that's part of what the magnets are for. There's two magnets there. So I guess there's two halves that get joined together. That's at least one use of the magnets. I'm not sure if there's other uses as well, but we'll find out as we build it. 26 pages, not as long as Megatron. I believe Megatron was 44 or somewhere in the 40s, so this is a bit shorter of a model. But yeah, very much looking forward to this. I'm not going to try not to spend too much time jibber-jabbering about all the pieces. Again, hopefully you have some experience in building these models before you start on this, because this is a more advanced design. Just plain and simple, it's something that you don't really want to start with. I'm not saying don't. If you're up for the challenge, go for it. But you know, after having built over 200 models myself, I still have issues with this and occasionally break parts and have to figure out how to deal with that. So I would save this for something more experienced. But let's take a moment to talk a little bit about some tools that will come in handy for this build and get to work on building the first section. Let's talk a little bit about tools. The very basics of what you're going to need is a pair of tweezers and some clippers. The tweezers, you can do a lot of bending, shaping, twisting of tabs, folding of things over. The clippers are going to help you get the pieces out of the sheets cleanly and easily by clipping them out instead of trying to bend them out, which can cause damage. I've also supplemented my set with some precision tweezers. I have a couple of pointed ones here. One, I ground the tip down just a little bit to give it a more sturdy tip for tabs and twisting things, and then I have a precision flat set, and between all of these I can do a lot of bending and shaping and twisting. I also strongly recommend some sort of pliers to complement your set. I have some flat nose here that have definite uses. I have some long needle nose pliers for some of the longer pieces, and then I have some curved tips for grabbing things at an angle and bending them over. For shaping round shapes, you'll find that I frequently use tools like this. These are 3D printed tools that I designed and printed for making round shapes and cone shapes. But you can use things around the house like pens, pencils, maybe large sewing or crafting needles. You can pick up some dowel rods at a craft store or hardware store, or an inexpensive drill bit set from the discount bin, and use the flat ends to do your shaping. And with the dowel rod, you can sharpen one end with a pencil sharpener, and that will give you some cone shaping as well. For shaping dome shapes, you might see me pull out a tool like this from time to time. This is a tool that I designed and 3D printed myself. It's got different rounded ends for shaping dome shapes, or you can just use something like beads or marbles to make rounded ball or dome shapes yourself. I have a sculpting set here that I occasionally use, and they have all kinds of different shaped ends on them. Some flat, some angled, some spoon. There's a couple of hooks. They're useful for reaching in and bending and pushing and pulling tabs and shaping parts from the inside. Usually with my build videos, I start showing how I clip out the parts to get started, but with long builds like the MU Transformers models, I stop the camera when I'm clipping out parts. I initially thought this first round part went into one of the more central spots, but I was mistaken. The size difference was a big giveaway. Also, the tabs at each end differ in number and sometimes in spacing, keeping one from putting these parts on upside down or backwards. I guessed wrong on which way was the front side, as I could not tell for sure. It turns out the sides with the fold lines are the front sides and face outward. I'm a bit impressed at how these tabs are designed to flip out when the sides are folded over. The first window attached without too much problem, so of course this one gave me extra trouble. The tabs around the tire are not evenly placed. The sides will only attach one way. I am starting to notice that several parts have tabs placed on things that will only attach one way, and this is a very helpful thing. Exactly what angle to bend the parts of the face was not clear to me. I did the best I could, but things didn't seem to be angled quite right. The tabs on the back of the head for these side pieces are just a tad covered up by another piece. It took me a good while to get the two side tabs lined up with their slots for this upper gold part. I had originally bent the sides down on this part at 90 degrees, but it appears the angle should be a little more open. It helps if you put a little curve on the tab that folds over and connects on the side. I was not able to get the two rear tabs all the way seated in their slots, but what little I was able to get them in will have to do. It looks like I missed something.